Today, we're diving into a profession that's, well, at a breaking point. It's fighting a war on two completely different fronts. One battle is against these tiny, microscopic enemies that can travel across the globe in a heartbeat. The other, it's a fight for its own survival. A massive crisis of burnout and staffing shortages, where the most unlikely reinforcement is coming from the digital world.
It sounds like the setup for a really weird joke, right? But the answer connects some of the most urgent threats and, honestly, some of the most incredible opportunities in animal healthcare today. See, these aren't separate things. They are all tangled up in the new reality of veterinary medicine, and we're going to unpack it all together.
So first up, let's talk about that external threat. And I want to be clear, this isn't some distant, abstract problem. This is a clear and present danger. We're talking about international animal diseases that don't just put animals at risk, they threaten entire economies. And yeah, even our own health. Take a look at this number. Over 148,000. That's not just a statistic. Every single one of those represents an animal affected by a horrifying New World screwworm outbreak just south of the US border. This is literally a flesh-eating parasite, and the fact that it's so close is a huge, huge concern for our livestock and wildlife. And you know, these threats move incredibly fast. Over in the Philippines, a recent outbreak of a really nasty avian flu led to the culling of more than 126,000 birds. It's a drastic, totally heartbreaking move, but it's what's necessary to stop a virus that could absolutely devastate an industry and, even has pandemic potential. And this is where the threat gets deeply personal. These aren't just animal diseases, they're zoonotic, which is just a fancy way of saying they can jump from animals to humans. A disease like the Nipah virus can move from an animal to a healthcare worker, turning a veterinary crisis into a full-blown public health emergency practically overnight. So while vets are on the front lines fighting these global diseases, they're also facing a massive battle much, much closer to home. There is a systemic crisis happening right inside their own clinics. So here's the heart of the problem on the inside. The demand for veterinarians is just exploding. I mean, look at this chart, a projected 20% growth in jobs. But the pipeline of new professionals, it just can't keep up. And for you, that means longer waits for appointments, and yep, probably higher costs for your pet's care. And it's not just about getting new people in the door, it's a retention crisis. This chart is staggering. It shows that nearly a third, 1 out of every 3 veterinary staff members, is thinking about leaving the profession for good. The reasons? Overwhelming stress and burnout. We're watching a massive loss of expertise from a workforce that's already stretched to its limit. Okay, so you've got these terrifying threats from the outside and a crippling crisis on the inside. So where do the reinforcements come from? Well, the answer is probably not what you'd expect. It's technology. A digital revolution is happening right now, and it's completely changing the rules of the game. First, let's get the terms straight, because they can be a little confusing. Telehealth is the big umbrella. Think of it as any tool that uses tech. It's not a new type of medicine, it's just a different way to deliver it. It could be a simple phone call, a video chat, anything that brings animal health services to you remotely. Now, let's zoom in a bit. Telemedicine is a specific slice of that telehealth pie. This is when a vet is providing care for a specific patient. But, and this is a huge but, there's a crucial rule. It can only happen if a formal veterinarian client-patient relationship, or VCPR, is already in place. Think of the VCPR as the official, legally recognized connection between the vet, you, and your pet. It's a critical line, and we're going to talk about it a lot more. And believe me, this is not some slow-moving trend. The veterinary telehealth market is absolutely exploding. We're talking a growth rate of nearly 18% every single year. This isn't just a small shift, it's a complete transformation of how animal care is delivered. All this rapid growth is blowing the doors wide open for veterinary professionals. It's creating entirely new career paths that go way, way beyond the 4 walls of a traditional clinic. This right here, this is the new reality. That deep clinical knowledge that used to be confined to an exam room, it can now be put to use from literally anywhere with an internet connection. It's a fundamental change in what it even means to be a veterinary professional. This has opened up a whole new universe of career options. Vets and techs can now work from home for drug companies, for the booming pet insurance industry, or as teletriage technicians, basically acting as virtual first responders for pet emergencies. Their clinical background is a massive asset in roles you'd never expect, from monitoring patients remotely to even tech support. But all this incredible new technology forces us to ask a really profound question.
And it comes right back to that foundational idea we mentioned, the VCPR. Can that essential relationship, that sacred trust between a vet, a client, and their animal, can it really be built through a screen?
Let's break down the two sides of this debate. The argument for in-person care is pretty simple. A physical exam is just irreplaceable. Vets rely on touch, on feel, even on smell, things a video call just can't do to avoid misdiagnosing something serious. But the case for virtual is all about access. It's a total game changer for pets in rural areas or for owners who face barriers like distance or disability. It's about meeting people where they are.
And when it comes to the law, well, the line is pretty clear, at least for now. This quote from the FDA is about as definitive as it gets. Especially when you're talking about prescribing certain drugs, that initial VCPR cannot be established solely through telemedicine. It has to start in person. And this isn't just some vague federal guideline. It's the law in most of the country. This table shows that a whopping 43 states basically mirror the FDA's position. And 22 of those states have gone even further, explicitly saying, no, you cannot start this relationship electronically. The legal hurdles to a fully digital practice are still very, very real.
So, with all of this amazing potential, but also these really significant legal restrictions, what's the path forward? How can clinics responsibly bring in these powerful new tools without breaking the rules or, more importantly, compromising the quality of care? Well, the American Veterinary Medical Association has laid out a pretty clear 5-step roadmap. It's really a common sense approach. First, you have to know the rules. Then, figure out what services you'll actually offer. Pick the right technology, train your team, and this one is so key. Be completely upfront and transparent with your clients about what virtual care can and cannot do.
Which brings us to the final critical question. The entire profession is basically caught between two powerful opposing truths: the irreplaceable, timeless value of a doctor's touch, and the undeniable, unstoppable demand for digital access. How they manage to balance these two forces? Well, that's going to define the future of animal care for all of us.